Day 5 of the World Cup is upon us. In today's episode of the Scotsman World Cup podcast, we'll be joined by guests both at home and also in America to go over all of the events from the weekend. Hello and welcome back to the Scotsman World Cup podcast as we enter a new World Cup week. Scotland are top of Group C. I will say that again. Scotland are top of Group C, and fans across the country and of course all across America are soaking in all that the tournament has had to offer so far in spades. To join me on today's show, I'm delighted to be joined by Edinburgh Evening News and Scotsman football writer Barry Anderson. Barry, I haven't seen you since before the results, so I'm assuming you're a happy man.
Yeah, like a lot of Scotland fans, it's great just to see your country actually win a game in the World Cup. Doesn't happen very often, only the 5th time in history. So, it was a good night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Still recovering a wee bit, but I enjoyed it.
What time did you get to bed?
4:45. This is ridiculous for a person my age.
There was a slight moment of anxiety that came over me when I heard the birds chirping and the lights kind of coming on across different homes and the actual sunlight being there at the same time, some of those lights going off. But look, you do what you do. You've got to do what you do. These things do happen. It is a major tournament. But I'm also delighted to be joined by Katherine, who might have had a slightly better sleep than we did on Saturday night, Sunday morning, whichever it may be. But how are you doing? You all right?
Yeah, good. I mean, it definitely finished earlier than in the UK time, but it was still a fairly late one because the celebrations just continued well into the early hours. It was just following kilts around Boston, just hearing people's views of the game. And I don't know, the excitement was just, incredible here in Boston. And it was also good to talk to people just living here, to hear what it's been like for them just with the Scotland takeover so far. And there were lots of people as well from locals and fans from competing teams as well celebrating. So it was, and then had to, of course, write about it. So no rest for the wicked.
I saw a Boston local this morning did an Instagram reel, and he said he's demanding that the Scottish people do not leave Boston at any point. He's trying to get a campaign together where they all stay.
It's sad actually, because I feel like since Thursday, I mean, when I arrived, I wrote a piece about it. You can see it on the Scotsman. Every second person in the street was a Scotsman. And I think a few people I spoke to just came over for the Haiti game and have gone home. And I did notice a little dip yesterday, although having said that, there was an enormous march going to a Red Sox game. Tartan Army fan, they all joined in a build up to one of the Red Sox games, baseball games over here. So they're still definitely here.
There's been some incredible footage of the Boston Red Sox game. A little Scotland fan caught a home run. I've seen that, which was quite hilarious. It's just, I don't know, it's almost the best part of the World Cup at the moment, to make them completely honest, but it's nice to combine it with a win. But Barry, as we said before, we're still sort of catching up on sleep. We're not really used to that. I do miss 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturdays a little bit. But look, a massive 1-0 win. It is a big win. The performance might have had a bit of criticism, but now that we've all managed to get a little bit of sleep and catch up, how are you feeling now that you've caught up on that and sort of assessing the performance a few days later?
Good question, Graham. I felt at the time that it wasn't a brilliant Scotland performance, and I wasn't overly surprised by that because I actually think Haiti are better than people give them credit for. And I didn't think Scotland quite reached the heights that we maybe expected them to or hoped that they would. Just didn't quite create enough clear chances, particularly in the second half. And it was really kind of nerve-wracking towards the end. You're seeing them hanging on, for a 1-0 win against Haiti, and you're thinking, oh, God, come on, we surely should be better than this. But it's not so much about the scoreline for me. It's more about getting 3 points on the board. Yes, you would have liked a better goal difference because that might come into it later in the tournament, depending on where Scotland finish and whether they can progress or not. But I think it's just simply getting 3 points on the board to start any group in a World Cup or a European Championship well-win is crucial to your prospects of getting through and getting out of that group. If you don't start well-win, you're on the back foot. So, as you've pointed out, Scotland are top of this group at the minute. Let's savour that for as long as we can. And just see what happens in the next couple of games. Morocco, Brazil are really tough, obviously top 10, both in the top 10 in the world and the FIFA World Rankings. So we know that we're up against it there. But just that I think the experience of seeing Scotland score a goal and win a game, clean sheet is a big positive, and go on from there. I enjoyed that part of it.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the game because John McGinn rightfully got the praise. I thought sometimes he's had a bit of criticism for not turning up in major tournaments. I thought he really did on Saturday night, Sunday morning, whatever you want to refer to it as. But there was another good couple of performances I thought in there, despite the fact that maybe, as you said, Scotland maybe didn't hit the height, or maybe Haiti were better than some of us expected. But who are the players that stood out for you alongside John McGinn? Because I know he got man of the match, but I think there was a little bit of debate around that because there was some really good performances in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, there were. Good point, because again, people that have been criticised in the Scotland jersey, Grant Hanley being one of them, I thought was very good. Jack Hendry as well. I was a wee bit surprised to see him start the game ahead of John Souttar, but fair play to him. He had a really strong game. Didn't put a foot wrong. I thought McTominay was probably quieter in midfield than we would have liked. Had a good shot off the post. But Lewis Ferguson also, for me, impressed. McGinn's obviously got the goal. I just felt that at times we lacked a little bit of creativity. Ben Gannon-Doak, I think, tried to open up the Haiti defence. Didn't quite happen for him as much. And we just lacked a wee bit of guile there in that sense. But that's, you can say that about Scotland teams many times over the years, and I don't think it'll be the last time we say it either. So, I thought I would have been quite happy. I thought McGinn getting man of the match was fair enough. I didn't have too much an issue with that. Equally, I wouldn't have had an issue if Grant Hanley or Jack Hendry had got it either, because I thought all three of them were excellent and pivotal to getting that 1-0 win.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone referred to Grant Hanley as being willing to headbutt his mother if she came in as a cross, because he was kind of like, he was just heading everything out the box, and fair play to him. I thought Grant Hanley was excellent. I thought Hendry played really well as well. Two tricky forwards in Wilson Isidore, who's caused problems, this season in the Premier League for many defenders, and also Perrault, who had that chance with a header, and I think they both kept them, quiet as they possibly could. But Katherine, back to the fan perspective of things, over in America, you touched on it before, that Boston Red Sox game, they're not doing very well at the moment, the Boston Red Sox, and I did see some Scotland fans chanting to the manager that he might be getting sacked in the morning, whoever that manager may be. I'm not too clued up on my MLB, I'm not going to lie, but it looked like the game itself, the Boston Red Sox game, was overthrown by a load of Scotland fans. Has the weekend win just amped things up, despite the fact that some people have come back? Because it seems like the Scotland fans who are still there aren't really resting at any point, just keeping going.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I think everybody thought maybe yesterday it was quite quiet during the day. I think there were maybe quite a few hungover people after the game, after the really exciting win. It was just quite noticeable walking through the streets of the centre, which is where I'm based anyway, and where, as I said earlier, it's just been, completely rammed with Scotland fans. But yeah, as last night showed with the game, there's still an army here marching around Boston, and I know a place called Providence just outside Boston is filled with a lot of Scots who are staying there because prices were just cheaper, and they have a huge march coming up I think it's in a couple of days, which I'm going to try and head over to witness that as well. So yeah, I don't get the impression that celebrations are really dying down. Certainly just walking the streets in the evening to get some food, there's still just kilts and blue and white strips everywhere, and yeah, I think just going to try and maybe track down a few fans who have particularly interesting stories to share from being here. I know that we've got Scotland's oldest fan hanging around Boston, who I'm going to try and find, and yeah, plenty of sort of events being put on for members of the Tartan Army who are still here.
Have they taught you to play the bagpipes yet, Katherine?
I'm an accordion player, so I think I have a place anyway in a band.
You're halfway there then. You're halfway there.
Exactly. But yeah, it's just the football chants everywhere you're walking. Just have them in your head, even if you can't hear them. You're just kind of almost singing them yourself. They're just filling the streets of Boston, and it's been really funny interviewing locals, because one man who was busy, he was preaching in the centre of the city, and just went up to him because I just saw him like laughing, seeing so many kilts heading down the street, and he called them skirts. He said he'd never seen so many men in so many skirts, which I know some Scottish people are quite annoyed about. Told him to learn about Scottish culture and call them kilts. But yeah, I think it's, yeah, you mentioned it earlier, Graham, but yeah, people in Boston are kind of pleading that the Scottish fans don't leave. So it's good to see that there's been a really positive reception. And, you know, they are really maintaining their reputation as being respectful. I noticed I was walking through Boston Common, which is a big park in the centre of the city, and two guys from Bushall were cleaning up rubbish, you know, behind all the fans. And I actually was chatting to a off-duty police officer. I tried to interview one, but they said they don't do kind of live interviews. But this off-duty police officer was very happy to tell me that he's very surprised they've had no call-outs. I mean, he did say it's only day 2, day 3, but they've had no call-outs for issues related to fans, which he said was really quite unusual. So, and yeah, finished saying that's testament to the Tartan Army being pleasant company, I guess.
I think the video, I watched the video of the preacher and I thought it was fantastic. I love by the fact that within 90 seconds he went from sort of offending people by calling it a skirt, but by the end of it he was like, no, you know what, I would wear one. You convinced him in like 90 seconds. So
I know, but he also compared it to wearing a short, like a pair of shorts with one leg, which is such a like abstract way of thinking about it. It's like, wow, okay.
It was a really good way to explain it, I suppose. Look, the games at the moment, I think it's been mainly Scotland. Obviously, the game against Morocco is there on Friday as well. But we've got Iraq and Norway coming up on Tuesday. Have you spotted any other fans? Someone said about the Norway fans coming over as another set of fans who, shall we say, like to enjoy themselves and enjoy your drink. That could be another day of extracurricular activity, shall we say?
Yeah, no, I haven't actually seen any Norway, but I've heard people say that they're going to come over sort of just like the Scots, really, in huge numbers. I've been meeting, a couple of Morocco fans who were quite cheeky in kind of saying how Morocco is definitely going to win, but at the same time, we're just quick to say that they hope Scotland and Morocco are going to get out of the group. And they were very complimentary about Scotland's team, saying it was a great team, and particularly about the fans. They said that they've been really enjoying hanging out and socialising with the Scottish fans in Boston.
Amazing. Obviously, I think we're about halfway through. The games are coming thick and fast, and I'm catching some and not catching others. But we've seen a 7-1 Curacao yesterday against Germany. Germany looked very good, and we've seen a 5-1 as well, Sweden last night against Tunisia. Some people have criticised the 48-team expanded tournament. What do you make of that assumption? Because I quite enjoyed, although Curacao lost 7-1, seeing them score, and let's be honest, that's like Lincoln scoring against Barcelona, I suppose, if you put the sides of the two nations together. I've quite enjoyed elements of it, but there is an argument to say that it's making some of the games a little bit one-sided. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, probably you do get a bit of both. I think with some of the smaller nations qualifying, then there's always going to be that potential for heavy defeats. But at the same time, me personally, my view is I thought increasing the World Cup to 48 teams was just a little bit too much. I like the 32-team format, but I also think that a lot of these countries, for them, it's an opportunity to get to this stage. Their fans get to go and experience it, and enjoy the whole kind of scene, the camaraderie, the whole festival feel of it. And from personal experience, you can't beat that. You know, you can't put a price on it. So, yeah, I can see both sides of the argument, really. I think at this stage, I think it's okay. I think you can probably just accept that some of the smaller nations will take a tanking or two and end up, possibly bottom of their group. But I think when you get to the knockout stage, when you get to the last 32, that's when it probably hots up and the intensity will grow, the pressure will increase, and the real kind of football will come out, if you like.
Is there any team that has impressed you most? I know we've still got Spain, who are the favourites to come, and France, who are actually the joint favourites, I think. England still to come as well. So a few of the teams, that you'd expect to be in and around the knockouts potentially later on. But is there any team that has impressed you most? Germany, as much as they were playing Curacao, the smallest team, were particularly impressive yesterday in the way that they dismantled them. They
were. I think most people would have been impressed by the Germans yesterday. Actually, I've been impressed not long before this tournament. I've been impressed with Morocco and the team that they've got, the youth that's in there, and what future might look like, in 5, 6, 7 years' time when they're all in their mid-20s. But I think at the moment they've just got a extremely strong side. You saw that against Brazil. I hope you don't see it again on Friday, but I have a feeling that you just might. So yeah, I mean, I do think that they go pretty far in this tournament. I just like the intensity of the play, their aggression, the tempo they play at. They're direct, but they've got a physicality about them as well. I think they could do quite well.
Yeah, really impressed by Boadi as well, who I think was either his debut or his first competitive game. He changed from the France youth team and he was like the standout player for me in the game against Brazil, and he's like a new addition to an already good Moroccan team. So really good shout. But look, we've reached our time. Katherine, I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of this evening. And Barry, I thank you always for joining us. If you have enjoyed the shows, like I say, I think we're on day 5, 6. The days are getting confused. I'll say day 6, but I could be wrong. Do feel free to like, share, subscribe, recommend it to your friends if you'd be so kind. But as always, if you are joining us once again, thanks for joining, and thanks as always to Katherine and to Barry for doing so.